What if I told you that one of the most respected car companies on earth built a machine designed to lie? Not a salesman's lie, not a marketing exaggeration, a lie programmed in code, software hidden deep inside 11 million vehicles, engineered to know exactly when it was being watched. When the car sensed a laboratory test, it became clean, quiet, perfect. The moment it hit the open road, it became something else entirely, pumping out pollution up to 40 times the legal limit. For years, nobody noticed. The cars passed every test. The awards kept coming. The profits soared. Until a small group of researchers, who weren't even trying to catch anyone, accidentally pulled the thread that unraveled it all. This is the story of Dieselgate. To understand the lie, you first have to understand the promise. In the late 2000s, Volkswagen had a bold ambition to become the largest car maker in the world. And their secret weapon wasn't an electric vehicle. It was diesel. Diesel engines were powerful and fuel-efficient, but they had a dirty reputation, especially for producing nitrogen oxides, the pollutants linked to smog and serious respiratory illness. Volkswagen claimed it had solved the impossible. They called it clean diesel. Cars that delivered strong performance, impressive mileage, and low emissions, all at once. It became the centerpiece of their American marketing. Sleek commercials, confident promises, the image of an engine so clean you could practically breathe behind it. Customers believed it. Regulators approved it. Critics praised it. But here's the question that nobody was asking out loud. What if it was too good to be true? In 2014, a nonprofit called the International Council on Clean Transportation, the ICCT, set out to do something simple. They wanted to showcase how clean modern diesel cars had become in the United States. Their plan was almost like a celebration. Prove that American diesels were the gold standard, then take that data back to Europe to push for stricter rules. They commissioned researchers at West Virginia University's Center for Alternative Fuels, Engines, and Emissions. The team did something unusual. Instead of testing the cars only in a lab, they strapped portable measuring equipment to the vehicles and drove them in the real world, on real highways, in real traffic. They tested 3 cars. 2 of them were Volkswagens. And what they found stopped them cold. In the lab, the Volkswagens looked perfect. But on the road, the emissions exploded, far beyond anything the lab numbers suggested. One vehicle was emitting nitrogen oxides at levels many times over the legal limit. The researchers weren't hunting for fraud. They thought, at first, that something must be wrong with their own equipment. It wasn't. So how was it possible? How could a car be clean in the lab and filthy on the road, every single time? The answer was a piece of software the world would come to call a defeat device. Here's how it worked. The software was clever enough to recognize the specific conditions of an official emissions test. Things like the position of the steering wheel, the speed, how long the engine had been running, and the air pressure. When the car detected these patterns, it knew it was being tested, so it switched into a special clean mode, fully activating its emissions controls. Spotless results, every time. But the instant the car realized it was back on a normal road, in the hands of a normal driver, it switched the controls back down, sacrificing cleanliness for performance and fuel economy. The car wasn't malfunctioning. It was doing exactly what it was designed to do. It was built to deceive. Regulators in the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency, and California's Air Resources Board began pressing Volkswagen for answers. For over a year, the company offered technical explanations and pushed back. But the data didn't lie, and eventually, the truth could no longer be hidden. On September 18, 2015, the EPA dropped the hammer. It issued a formal notice of violation, publicly accusing Volkswagen of installing illegal defeat devices in its diesel cars. The accusation was no longer a whisper inside a lab. It was front-page news around the world. And then came the moment that changed everything. Volkswagen admitted it. The company confessed that the cheating software wasn't in a handful of cars. It was installed in roughly 11 million vehicles worldwide. 11 million. Let that number sink in. This wasn't one rogue engineer. This wasn't a factory error. This was a deception woven into one of the best-selling product lines of a global automotive giant, sold to millions of customers who genuinely believed they were doing the right thing for the planet. The trust of an entire brand, built over decades, collapsed in a matter of days. The fallout was immediate and brutal. When the markets opened, Volkswagen stock went into free fall, wiping out a massive chunk of the company's value in a matter of days. Just 5 days after the EPA's announcement, on September 23, 2015, CEO Martin Winterkorn resigned. In his statement, he said he was not aware of any wrongdoing on his part, but accepted responsibility for the crisis engulfing his company. Around the world, governments launched investigations. Customers filed lawsuits. The very phrase "clean diesel," once a proud slogan, became a global punchline and a symbol of corporate betrayal. Volkswagen now faced an impossible task, not just paying for what it had done, but trying to fix millions of cars and win back a public that felt personally lied to. And the bill for that betrayal was about to become one of the most expensive in corporate history. This is where the story stops being just about cars and becomes about consequences. In 2017, Volkswagen pleaded guilty to criminal charges in the United States, including conspiracy and obstruction. Across fines, penalties, buybacks, and settlements, the scandal would ultimately cost the company tens of billions of dollars, one of the most expensive corporate scandals ever recorded. But money wasn't the only price. A Volkswagen engineer, James Leong, who cooperated with investigators, was sentenced to prison. And Oliver Schmidt, a Volkswagen executive, was sentenced to 7 years behind bars after being arrested in the United States. Former CEO Martin Winterkorn was later charged by prosecutors in both the United States and Germany in connection with the scandal. The clean diesel dream was dead, and in its place stood a hard, uncomfortable truth. A company had decided that beating the test was easier than passing it honestly, and gambled that no one would ever check the real world. They were almost right. So what does Dieselgate really teach us? First, the most dangerous lies aren't loud. They're quiet, technical, and buried where almost no one thinks to look. In this case, in lines of software code. Second, the system that was supposed to catch cheating was being cheated by the very people it was meant to test. The cars passed because they were built to pass. Third, the truth surfaced almost by accident. A study designed to praise clean diesel ended up exposing one of the largest frauds in automotive history. Sometimes the entire empire falls because someone simply decided to test it in the real world. The next time a promise sounds too perfect, too clean, too easy, too good to be true, remember the cars that knew when they were being watched. If this story gripped you, do me a favor, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe so you never miss the next dark mystery in our famous frauds and scams series. And tell me in the comments, do you think the people at the very top truly didn't know? Or did they just look the other way? I read every comment, and I want to hear your theory. Stay curious, and never stop asking the question they hope you won't. What aren't they telling you?